Hi, I'm Mandy Schneider, and I'm so excited to be here today as guest host for another episode of Veritas Live. Like my guests, who I'll introduce in just a moment, I had the pleasure of spending last week in Las Vegas at AWS's biggest cloud event of the year, reInvent 2022. We're about to get into all the cool happenings at reInvent. And hey, if you were there, let us know in the comments. And if you weren't, this show will give you all the highlights. I happened to be in the Veritas booth all week, and it was hopping. From our guest speakers to our friends from Latin America, and of course, all the enthusiastic attendees. The booth was constantly filled with awesome energy. So, what did we find out at this year's reInvent? Well, first off, wow, in-person audiences are back, baby. The focus at reInvent this year was around AI and ML, future-proofing your cloud infrastructure, and retooling company culture during this time of rapid cloud expansion. This kept a massive audience engaged and coming back for more throughout the week since so many industry professionals are facing similar challenges. Actually, there's a quote I wanted to share from Adam Selipsky's opening keynote. Adam took over as CEO of Amazon Web Services just last year, and he shared this, and I'm going to read it because I don't want to screw it up. In the next 5 years, we're going to create more than double the amount of data produced since the dawn of the digital age. That's staggering, right? And I want to introduce a couple of people who are all too familiar with this trajectory and who were with me all week at reInvent. Today, I'm joined by two of my Veritas favorites, Joe DeAngelo and Mo Hassan. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us, Mandy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great. Love being here.
Me too. Good to see your faces. I'm going to have you introduce yourselves here. Mo, let's start with you.
All right. Hey, everyone. Mo Hassan here. I am responsible for technical alliances here at Veritas with our cloud partners. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe DeAngelo. I'm the Director of Product Management for InfoScale at Veritas, and just excited to be talking to you guys once again on Veritas Live.
Absolutely. It is so lovely to have you both. And anytime I could see your faces, it's awesome. So let's get right to it. Joe, why don't we start with you? What was the feel of the show for you this year?
Well, Manny, first of all, you hit it right on the head, is that we're back in person. It was electric. Just seeing the thousands and thousands of people across the expo hall, being able to reconnect with folks whom you haven't been in the same room with for multiple years, just really feeling as if, the industry is returning to form. And I think that is a great opportunity to do that in, right? You had a venue like Las Vegas where you could spread out and have so many different opportunities to interact with new and familiar faces. Overall, it was just a great experience, great energy, and I was so glad to be able to be promoting the Veritas Alta brand at our booth all week.
Absolutely. How about Mo? How about you?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Joe just said. I'm looking at it from two different angles, right? From a purely technologist, as someone in this industry, you just got to love this event. I think this is the mother of all events, at least in our industry. They had 60,000 people from our industry attending this event. So, and Amazon's entire ecosystem is so vast, and they were all there. And I like the fact that most of the innovation that is taking place in our industry today, many entities that are responsible for those innovations, they were in that event. But from a different angle, from an advanced AWS partner angle and from alliances angle, I think it was a phenomenal event for Veritas. We had, more than, and Mandy, like you just mentioned, and you were there, we had more than 1,000 people showed up at our booth. We had some really good conversations with our existing and potential customers. And Veritas was all out there. Our CEO was there, our head of strategy was there, head of cloud sales, and other senior executives. They were all there to take full advantage of this, the biggest event of our industry. In fact, our CEO attended this. There was a very special dinner where CEOs of other 30 companies were there. All those companies were part of Amazon's ecosystem, so that was very valuable for us. And our executives had great conversation with multiple AWS executives as well, and to make sure our companies are, aligned at all levels. And last but not least, you know that industry analysts, they love Veritas. And that's why when our execs were there, they had to, they had the opportunity to speak with some of the analysts there. And I believe Rick Clark did some, Q interviews. So it was all in all a great event for me. I loved it.
So much. There was so much going on. Now, did you see any trends this year, Mo, that were different or exciting?
Well, so obviously it's a huge event, and you can spot various trends going on in various verticals. And in my opinion, in previous year, what I've noticed with AWS, they used to follow somewhat of a vendor lock-in model, but as an AWS partner, I've been noticing it for some time now, but it was quite obvious in this reInvent. The trend that I noticed was that AWS is becoming more and more open now. They are very open to open source products and services. Their focus is expanding from just AWS native to cloud native now, and they're becoming more and more focused on partnering with vendors like Veritas for technical alignments and go-to-market activities. And this is great news for our customers, both AWS and Veritas joint customers, because our customers already love our enterprise level features, solutions, services, and now they'll be able to consume our platform, a Veritas platform, as a cloud native service on AWS in a very simple and easy to consume way. And another trend that I noticed, and again, this was also one of those things that I've been noticing for some time, but it was quite obvious, was the adoption of AWS Marketplace. And this is interesting because, many big names in our industry that used to be, let's call them quote unquote cloud deniers, they're now selling their products and services in AWS Marketplace. So, and Veritas was aware of these trends, for some times now. And that's why our executives have met with AWS Marketplace executive on various occasions, including last week, during their reInvent. And both companies are very much aligned on marketplace initiative. And that's why Veritas is very heavily invested in bringing more and more, products and services into marketplace. So we're ripe for, taking advantage of this trend. So these were the two major trends that I noticed.
Absolutely. And Joe, I know you had a couple talks with AWS folks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, and I just want to echo the comments that Mo had made there, right? I think the collaboration is a huge part, one of the tenets that AWS is now being so keen about. Some of the other things that we witnessed while we were there too is a heavy focus on security and efficiency, right? I couldn't help but notice that there was so much conversation going on about those two topics. It seemed like everyone wanted to be able to utilize the resources in the cloud more effectively, ensure that they're not, there's not overspend or there's not wasted spend, and certainly wanting to make sure that their data and their services are absolutely secure. So those are two areas I think were also widely discussed. But yes, to the question you had about the sessions, yeah, it was fantastic because we had an opportunity to actually present in our booth alongside with AWS. What better way to gain credibility or relevance in a topic than to have the host of the event themselves to actually stand side by side with you, talking about something that's so critical to the success of moving applications and services into the cloud, and that's this concept of shared responsibility. So we were talking about that ad nauseum throughout the course of the week, making sure that customers know as they consume resources in the cloud, that doesn't absolve them of all the responsibilities of those applications, whether it's in performance and resilience. And AWS was generous enough to two different individuals, shout out to Henry Axelrod and Sean Pupanich for joining us, to talk about what that shared responsibility model is all about and how Veritas partnering with AWS can ensure customers can achieve that. So it was really great. Again, echoes that collaborative nature that Mo was discussing, and really gave us an opportunity to go into great detail about that opportunity, those relationships.
Absolutely. So on that collaborative note, Mo, how are AWS and Veritas building solutions together, would you say? Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, I was on mute. Thank you for pointing that out. So many, that around 95% of Fortune 100 and 87% of Fortune 500 companies are actually Veritas customers. And both Veritas and AWS were both, very customer obsessed companies. So our joint solutions in large part are driven based on the need of our large enterprise customers. And nearly all our customers, they have a very strong cloud strategy. And in most cases, most of them have, hybrid multi-cloud strategy. And protection of application and data in a heterogeneous hybrid multi-cloud environment is very complex. It's very expensive and time-consuming, like you just mentioned. Adam also mentioned data is growing just exponentially. So things are becoming more and more complex. So the way Veritas, provides our solution, what we do is provide simplicity to our customer by offering them just a single unified platform that helps them protect all their applications across the environment, no matter if it's on-premise, one cloud, multiple cloud, we cover everything. And also from this single unified platform, we provide our customer visibility and IT analytics across all these environments. And this is a huge deal for our customer because without a tool like that, they cannot, see their environments. And if they cannot see it, they cannot measure it, which means they cannot, manage it, which is a huge deal for our customer. And we make sure in our solutions, we're using, some of our great technology in this platform. So this way our customers save a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and we help them protect their environment from attacks like ransomware. Obviously, you cannot have a conversation with customer without talking about ransomware these days, because I think every 11 seconds or every 19 seconds, somebody's getting hit with ransomware attacks. So we provide protection from ransomware attacks. And while we do that, we provide them this great user experience. But especially in certain verticals like healthcare and financial services, and I already mentioned marketplace. In all these environments and in all these verticals, both Veritas and AWS senior leadership, they have agreed to double down our focus and attention on these initiatives. And in fact, in our breakout session that we had last week during the reInvent, Dr. Rob from Tufts Medicine, he provided details on how he was able to move Epic. Epic is a very important application in healthcare industry. So he provided details how he was able to move this Epic workload to AWS and now using Veritas products and solutions to protect that application and provide resiliency to this application. And how he's cutting costs using our solution. So I know it was a long answer to your question, but the one-line answer would be all our solutions, a joint solution, they revolve around our customers' needs.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I think that's what we all want. And Joe, I'm just curious, do you have anything to add to that, or do you want to tell us something completely different?
No, I can sort of expand on that a little bit. I think that when we talk about the sort of the dynamic between Veritas and AWS, I think one of the things that we are most keen on is about granularity and being able to visualize and understand the health and state of an application above and beyond what you're going to be able to achieve natively within AWS is something that we both recognize and work closely together. So our solutions are really complementary to one another, and that's what was on display. This idea that the resiliency of the cloud, right? That was something that AWS absolutely accepts the responsibility for, but the resiliency in the cloud of your services, of your applications, of your data, all of that is what Veritas is so keen on, and what we pride ourselves on being able to deliver. And that was the theme, right, for the course of the week, was being able to show that you can have a tier 1 application. You can move that critical workload, irrespective of whether it's an ERP system, a EMR or an EHR like an Epic, an SAP workload. Regardless of what those are, you can have a destination in AWS, and you won't sacrifice any of the resilience or any of the durability that you would typically achieve or be accustomed to on-prem. So yeah, I mean, that was just a great set of conversations we're having about that.
Absolutely. I definitely learned a lot. Anything else, anything surprising or funny or?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think in general, everybody had a great time at our booth. We had just a wonderful, eclectic group of individuals who really enjoy and are passionate about this. I got to give a shout out to my man, 50 grand, Cliff Barcliff, once again, bringing it full throttle. Always a great. He's like a tractor beam for customers to come and join. And he just a funny little anecdote. We had a great experience where there were some cast of characters that attended the event. Some of them were dressed up in costumes. One particular was dressed up as Buddy the Elf. and happened to be walking by, and Cliff was donning his best sort of dapper Santa outfit, and out of nowhere you hear Buddy the Elf screaming, "Santa, I know you," coming running over, and having a great just one of those little levity moments where everybody realized, that we're here for what are often important and maybe often serious topics, but everybody was there to have a good time as well and enjoy everyone's company. So hopefully there'll be some photographic evidence of that posted here soon.
Totally. I loved that. Santa!
It was great.
Do you know that Cliff also, after the workday, would go out and hand out raffle tickets?
Yeah, he is prolific, absolutely prolific. Yep.
He brings so much energy. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, absolutely.
And his clothing is impeccable.
Absolutely.
Dapper Santa. That was the best way.
Well, I just want to thank Joe and Mo for their time today. Really appreciate you both sharing so many great experiences and insights.
My pleasure. This was great.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. Yeah.
Anytime I could see your faces, I am happy. It's so great to see you, even just like a week or so later. So, yeah, I'm happy about that. Yeah. There was so much to absorb coming out of reInvent, and I want to point our audience to a few things in particular. First, to hear more from Mo about why Veritas is even more relevant in today's evolving cloud, you could check him out on Elias Knazer's Let's Talk Shop podcast, the AWS reInvent edition. It drops this Wednesday on Eli's YouTube channel, and you could find his YouTube link right here under the player. Mo, do you have anything to add to that, or?
No, that was a very interesting podcast where I did not even know there was a podcast, because we sat down and he said, okay, yeah, the lights were on, and he just ended up asking me a question. Hey, okay, so what is Veritas doing? Why is it still relevant in a cloud environment? And I just basically answered that, hey, in my opinion, it is today far more relevant than it has ever been before. And I was just, able to, give him the answer for a few minutes. And they ended up recording it, and now they're calling it a podcast. So I think whatever I said in that podcast, it's something that multiple teams within Veritas, on every day we work on those products and solutions. So actually, whatever just came out of my mouth was very passionate. It came up from my heart because we put so much time and effort into these solutions. And again, like you asked before, all our solutions, how do we resolve our customer problems? So we actually are serious about that. So that turned out to be a very good podcast.
Well, that's the best when that happens, and I'm excited to check it out.
Very natural.
Yeah.
Sometimes the extemporaneous stuff is the best stuff. Totally. Nothing planned, nothing scripted, off the cuff.
You just go off, and that's how you get the best stuff, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Also, in addition to that, you could check out Veritas SVP Rick Clark's interview with theCUBE, where he discusses the Veritas Alta Cloud Data Management Solution. All right, folks. So as we wrap up, there are just a couple more resources we wanted to share. We have our Veritas Solutions Days, which are a great opportunity to hear from technical experts, connect with industry peers, and gain perspective on the best ways to overcome your biggest data challenges. Check out the link and look for your city for more details on that.
And Mandy, if I may, real quick, just if they want to learn more about InfoScale and the shared responsibility model, check out veritas.com/InfoScale.
Okay, thank you for that. Absolutely. And also, knowing ransomware is on the rise as we head into the holiday, I want to encourage everyone to check out our ransomware assessment tool to gauge your organization's readiness in the event of an attack. Well, with that, it was such a pleasure being with all of you today. We'll have one last episode before the end of the year, coming up on December 27th. From the entire team here at Veritas Live, we wish all of you a happy holiday and a great end of the year. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Veritas Live.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everybody.
Bye.